the dog takes the cat. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the dog takes the cat. The cat takes the mouse, the cat takes the mouse. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the cat takes the mouse.
Okay, so Caleb asked, how did God make fur for the animals? So now we don't say that God made fur. The fur came from the scales on the lizard. The scales turned into fur. And what's called evolution or metamorphosis is form change. The scales and the lizard grew into fur. And these guys evolved or metamorphosized from earlier chemicals. And this was created in the Big Bang, which is the universe exploded. Okay, so now, how did God make the perfect stuff to make us, right? Okay. So that one is the story where everybody was taught. They said, well, God used dirt and to make us, and that was, they said that was the perfect stuff, but that was just a rewrite of the idea that Kino made humans out of clay. And that's a story that just got passed along to us through generations. So now that we understand that humans come from these, anytime you have a star, okay, so now there's this is our sun. And we know there's millions of suns like this in the universe. So somewhere in the universe there's other people like us, or human-like people. So anytime you have a star about this size, medium-sized star, that rotates, it causes anything that's carbon-based to become animated like people, like little children. So instead of saying, God, how did God make us so perfect, we say that the energy and the forces of the universe, or the fermions and the bosons, interacted and reacted to make animated creatures around suns. So we think there's other animated creatures in the universe, like us. So then, Jacob, your question, how was God born? So
God wasn't born?
That was, the old days, this is how they explained how God was born. So the old days, they explained that God, everything was dark. And then there was a flood, which is up down here, there's what's called Ethiopian, there's mountains that have snow in it. And then the snow melts, and it causes the river to swell with water for 150 days. This is the start of the river, and it goes down here, and it goes down here. So then they said there was a big flood. And then when the water started going down, they said land arose. And so then in Heliopolis, they said after the land arose, the sun burst forth, and that was the birth of God. So now we don't say that. We say that there was the birth of the Big Bang. It's not really God. It's just a mixture of force and matter, of fermions which you can feel, and bosons which you can, fermions you can touch, and bosons you can feel, like heat. We don't understand it as God. It's just energy and forces interacting. We don't really know what was before the Big Bang. So then, Temple, how did God make us out of dirt? We already kind of answered all that question. Temple, do you understand that whole question? Like, how did God make us out of dirt? That just comes from the clay creation myth. The Egyptians, who lived right here in the year 330 BC, they believed that the god Kino created humans by taking clay, splitting it apart, and then taking the ankh and putting breath into it. So why did God make us out of dirt? Okay, so now we're doing Ricky's questions. Ricky asks, how did Noah managed to get 2 of each animal on the ark? So this is the original Noah right here. Everybody see the pyramid? So originally there was a flood. There was the snow in the Ethiopian mountain melted over here. Then it caused the Nile to flood for 150 days. And all this part over here flooded up. And it flooded 30 feet in the air, which is three times this room. So then when the water started coming down at the end of 150 days, they used to believe the earth was flat, so it would look like mountains would rise out of the water, which they conceptualized as the pyramids when they started building pyramids, which is a representation of Noah, so they took this part here, plus the idea about how the sun was carried through the sky first by a bird, and then on a boat, and they rewrote that into Noah's Ark. So in the Heliopolis creation myth, which is the original story of Ra, which came out of Heliopolis right here in 3100 BC. First they said that there was this is the Ra came out of the pyramid. Then he created things in pairs. Like here's air, moisture in pair, then Jeb and Nut in pairs, then Isis and Horus in pairs, and Set in pairs. And so all the other humans came from Osiris and Isis. And that's where they took that, and if you read the Egyptian mythology, you'll see that they have different stories for where the animals came from. And they took that as the story of Noah's Ark. So if you look at the original Noah's Ark, so this is the first, they started painting these on the pyramids 2,000 years before they wrote the Bible. So on the original Noah's Ark, there was just different gods. And there was Ra, the sun god, and they had his helpers with them. There weren't any animals. So they wanted to explain where Egyptians, or the early Christians and Jewish, wanted to explain where animals came from. So they took this story of Ra, which is Abraham, and his people riding on the solar bark through the sky, and they just rewrote that into the story of Noah riding with animals on the ark. Does that help at all? So now we understand that humans came through evolution, and that's what Charles Darwin taught. So now we don't need the idea that there was two animals. We just have chemical reactions, they react together, and just like this is a chemical reaction that formed all of us, this is called a double displacement reaction. So each one of these are different types of reactions, and we don't have to use the Noah's Ark to explain it. Alright. Anybody else got any questions? Mono, I know you got a question. Rose, you got to have some question. I know you got something.
No, you answered everything because I worked on those questions with the kids.
Oh, okay. All right. Sarah, you got a question? All right, let me look at the whole slide.
I appreciated that part.
Okay. Desi, what about you? Got a question? Because Thor's going to show this to his daughter when she becomes your age. So she's going to watch the video. And if you want to ask a question now, maybe it'll help her in a couple years. Because she's only 2 now. No? Okay. Temple, you want to do that? One last question?
Why was like protectors?
Huh?
Like protectors?
Protectors? What do you mean?
Like protectors, like protecting each other.
You know, like guardian angels?
Well, yeah, guardian, that's just all these different guardian angels is all this. So Egyptians believe. The Egyptians used to believe there were 2 kinds of skies. One was the water, you could see in the ground, so you could see fish moving in there. So if something moved in the water, a fish would move in. But in the sky, they thought that was a type of water too, like an ocean. So they had the first people theorized that, well, how does the sun move in the sky? So they saw birds were the only thing that could move in this ocean, which they thought was the sky. So they thought a bird originally would fly it, put the sun on its head, and fly up and go through the sky. So that got rewritten to the guardian angels. But the Egyptians believed not only when you created, so when you pretty much it started in Heliopolis, but then there was a shift. This has happened over a period of 3,000 years. They shifted. This was different state capitals. First it was Heliopolis, then it was Memphis, and then it was Hermopolis, then Thebes, and then Ermano. This is the birth of monotheism, which is kind of where Christianity comes from. In each one of these shifts, they shifted. The gods changed names a little bit, and there's little different shifts in the definitions. But when we got down to Enum, which when he came to power, down here in Elephantine, which is a little island on the Nile, the story had become that each person was created with 8 different things. So you're created with your soul, which they call the Ba. You're created with the Ka, which is your spirit. They were created with a shadow, which was, they thought the shadows were like, you know, when you go outside and you see your shadow, they used to think you were born with a shadow. That was the 3rd one. And then they also thought that you had a secret name. So if you told somebody your secret name, it was something like they could own their soul, or something like that. And then there was also your guardian angel. And then there was 2 other things. The following is a visual diagram to help answer the question, which is, don't humans have a guardian angel or protector watching over us, which is something taught to many children in America. This belief comes from our Egyptian religion heritage, according to which humans were conceived or conceptualized as having been made of 7 parts. 1, their body, which was clay, molded by a god and brought to life by the Ankh. 2, their jib or heart, which is or conceptualized as the mind, intention, emotional state, or the essential being of a person. 2, their ba, or moral weight, conceptualized as a bird with a human head. 4, their ka, or spirit, depicted as upright arms, conceptualized as the living force of a person or vital spark. 5, their shuat, or shadow. 6, their ren, or secret name, which if you told someone, they would own you, and after you cease to exist, as long as your ren was spoken, the Egyptians believed that your ren continued to live on. 7, Ak, AKH, which was a type of ghost or magical dead being that would reside in the tomb unless the funerary rites were carried out properly. In the centuries to follow, as polytheism transmogrified via religious syncretism into monotheism, the concept of the Ba in part and concept of the Ka in part were merged or molded into that of the concept of the guardian angel. So some of those ideas about guardian angels are just stories that passed along to us as kind of like our religious teachings. So these are like our great grandfathers, are religious, and they just were the grandchildren. And now we're modifying it again by saying now we understand chemistry and physics. So the guardian angels kind of look like this. You see how that's a bird? So the bird, it's like a hawk, and the bird had wings right here. So they took this thing, this is what they thought down when it got to the creation of the humans on a potter's wheel, they said each person had a guardian angel like this that watched over us. So it's kind of like now you're a guardian angel as Sarah and Rose. So we understand things a little differently. All right. Anybody else got a question? Mono? What about Ricky? I know you got a good one. You got a lot of good stuff. All right. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for coming.